At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. You're watching Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning at 6:30 in the morning. It is 6:30 on this Monday, April 21st. You know, a lot of the kids, they've been out of school here for spring break last week. They've got to go back to school this week, and I was asking my son yesterday as we were coming back from the Red Bluff Roundup yesterday. I said, hey, school's starting up tomorrow. You excited? And of course, his answer was, not really. I am excited to get him back too, not only for school and of course to become educated, but also he's on the track team. And he did not motivate himself much to get out there and do much running and keep himself in shape while he was off for the week. So he's going to be hurting a bit here, but he's going to have about a week to get in shape. Oh, about 4 days, really, to get in shape before his next meet. So we'll see how he does. Should be interesting. And I hope a lot of the other kids who are on the track team or any kind of sport try to keep themselves in shape during spring break. But I know that there's not a lot of motivation. Much like that, not a lot of motivation to probably even do some schoolwork if they have any that they've got to do here. So that's kind of how that works. Hey, how you doing out there this morning? It turned out to be a gorgeous, gorgeous weekend in store for us. If you had any Easter egg hunts over the weekend, or maybe not eggs, right? But if you had any Easter egg hunts this weekend, you had some good weather for it. Turned out to be a good day. Of course, as you know, the big event going on this weekend was the Red Bluff Roundup. They couldn't have asked for better weather. It was a bit on the breezy side here for your Friday, but on Saturday, Sunday, just that little bit of a breeze, keeping things a little bit cooler out there for the big events. So just a lot of fun, a lot of good times, and now we've got the week ahead of us here. And, you know, this is one of those weeks where there's not going to be a ton going on with the weather. But there are a few things in there that are going to kind of keep us on our toes here. And I say that because it's going to be kind of the forecast will be morphing a little bit here throughout the week, because I am talking about the potential for some showers in the valley. I am talking about afternoon showers and thunderstorms here for some of the higher elevations, and even as early as tomorrow evening, seeing the potential for some of that coming in, and maybe even this afternoon. Out towards Plumas County, for example. So let's get you right to your Krueger's Quickcast, and there you can see we've got for your Monday, April 21st, a frost advisory here for Trinity County until 8 o'clock this morning. So, you know, it's that time of the year where, you know, a lot of people like to plant their spring plants, what have you, and you've got to make sure that you protect them should we get these overnight these early season freezes or late season freezes. And that can happen. So that's why you got to be aware of that if you have any outdoor plants or sensitive vegetation that you need to protect. That is until 8 o'clock this morning. All right, let's take a look at out the door this morning. And, you know, it's actually fairly mild. The winds are blowing a little bit out towards the north end of the valley. That's why places like Redding are going to be a little bit warmer out there. But otherwise, mainly in the 50s for most of us in the valley, but most likely even some 60s for places like Redding. Temperatures upper 30s for Siskiyou and Modoc County. We got those mid 40s for the eastern mountains, for the north coast, and some low 40s for parts of Trinity County, although some of those low-lying areas sheltered by the winds, some colder temperatures there in Trinity County, hence the frost advisory. But again, notice the winds are blowing a little bit this morning for the north end of the valley, and that's why Redding is sitting at about 62 degrees, but otherwise low to mid 50s for the valley this morning. Quite cold in Alturas here at 27, 40 degrees in Susanville, and 35 degrees in Bernie too, but also in Weaverville. 31 for Hayfork, and those temperatures mid to upper 40s here for the coast. So talking about those winds, you see right now, I mean, we're not looking at major winds for Redding, but that's enough to kind of keep those winds, to keep those temperatures up a little bit here. Meanwhile, on the east side of the valley, a little bit sheltered by those winds, calmer winds elsewhere as well, at about 4 to 5 miles per hour for many of you along the coast this morning. So high pressure is the dominant feature. And there's really not a whole lot that you look at this and just a ton that stands out. But what's happening is you've got this area of high pressure. And on the east side of that high pressure, you see these storm systems kind of ride up and over that ridge. And since we're on the east side of that ridge, we start to see some of these systems kind of come down. And that's why as early as this afternoon, we could see an afternoon shower or even a thunderstorm in parts of Plumas County. And then tomorrow, especially tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, we may see a disturbance push through Northern California, giving parts of Northern California, especially in the mountains, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But here's your wind gusts for today. Yeah, a little breezy out there this morning, even around midday. And really where most of the winds will be confined will be on the north and west side of the valley, and also the coast, seeing some of those gusty winds at times. Now, by this afternoon really, we're seeing the winds die down a bit here for the valley, but still pretty gusty for the coast, 20 to even 30 miles per hour. And then they subside overnight, and then by tomorrow morning, we've got more winds, nothing major, but a little breezy for the north and west side of the valley, and once again for the coast. So here's a look at Futurecast here for this morning. You got mainly dry conditions. Now, there still is some patchy fog, places like Eureka, Humboldt Bay, for example. And then we go into midday, we're dry. But notice the clouds are starting to increase, especially off to the east. And see that in Plumas County. Can't rule out a stray shower, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm, maybe a lightning strike or two in parts of Plumas County. But elsewhere, it's dry. You can also see the clouds and the low clouds and the fog, that is, making its way to the coast, Humboldt Bay, and even north of that in northern Humboldt County, but mostly clear skies probably for Crescent City and in Del Norte County, and then working its way down into some of those inland valleys as well. That's tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow, maybe another chance for showers for parts of the mountains, which we'll get into a little bit later. But today, if you like the weather you saw over the weekend, you're going to like today. Temperature should be in the low 80s for most of us in the valley. Looks like in the 60s, 70s for the higher elevations, and right around 60, upper 50s to low 60s here for the coast. And for tonight, another mild night, probably dropping down to the low 50s for most of us in the valley. Temperatures in the 30s for the higher elevations. And for the inland areas, you're talking mid-40s, and looks like in the low to mid-40s for the coast. All right, so let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for the valley. So I've got you breezy here for today. And you know what? It'll be a little breezy for your Tuesday, Wednesday as well. Now, I've also, see that, a chance for showers on Friday and possibly even Saturday for places like Redding and even Red Bluff. The chances are going to be slimmer for places like Chico, for example, but I've still got that chance in there possibly on Saturday. And then Sunday, temperatures back in the upper 70s. So we take a look at the coast, and it's really not until Thursday that we've got the chance for showers. Same thing for the inland areas and for Trinity County. That said, especially as we go to Wednesday afternoon, parts of southern Trinity County may see a stray shower. So again, this is something I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that the forecast in the mountains in particular, this is going to be an ever-changing forecast because the instability is going to be something we'll have to watch here. But as early as Wednesday, really, that's kind of overall. The overall trend is Wednesday. But as I mentioned, late this afternoon, Plumas County could see some activity. Tomorrow evening, places in northern Shasta, southeastern Siskiyou, Modoc County, northern Lassen could all see a chance for some showers. And then, of course, as I mentioned, by Wednesday through this upcoming weekend, basically off and on chances for those afternoon showers and maybe even a stray thunderstorm. You're not going to see it every day. You're not going to see a shower every day, but each of those days, you've at least got that chance because there'll be those isolated showers kind of popping up here and there. All right, so that's a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast. Let's take a look at some of the lakes out there. This is out at Lake Oroville, North Forebay, looking pretty nice out there. A little bit of that north breeze coming in here this morning. Taking a look at Main Street, Chico. This is on Highway 32. Not a whole lot of traffic out there this morning. Looks like we are seeing on Highway 99 at Neal Road, pretty typical traffic that we see for this time of the day, and that's also the case out towards Highway 44 at the Sundial Bridge Drive exit. We're looking at not a lot of cars on the road this morning. Not bad for that morning commute. Taking a look at Crescent City, this is a harbor district and looking absolutely gorgeous out there this morning. You've got a beautiful sunrise coming out. Looks like there's a little bit of that marine layer way off in the distance, and that may eventually impact us here coming in later this week in the next couple of days or so. Today is Thursday, or excuse me, not Thursday. Today is, wouldn't it be nice if it was Thursday already? No, today is Monday, and we have got our Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. And speaking with Sharon Clay, they're getting ready for their big show. They have that big show every year, Walk on the Wild Side, and they start kind of preparing for it now, and they also start preparing their animals. So we're going to meet one of the animals that's in the show this year. Let me get you to it. Or not. Hold on one second. We're going to get you. We're going to start this. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. You're watching Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. And what's really exciting, every year they've got the big show called Walk on the Wild Side Animal Show. And we're getting really close to that here for the summer here. So you're kind of in the training mode for you guys to learn your scripts, but you've also got to really get the animals prepared for it as well. So we're going to get a little sneak peek, right?
That's right. You can watch a quick little training session with Beetle. Beetle is a western spotted skunk.
Okay, not a beetle actually. But
he's not a beetle, but he gets his name because they actually eat lots and lots of beetles in the wild and other bugs and insects, and then mice and other lizards and things like that they can grab. They're extremely fast, but most skunks live underground or on the ground. So on the ground, terrestrial. Underground. You said the word, it's a big word, and it's too big for me. It's too big for you? Yeah. You're a big guy. I know. It should not be too big for you. Fossorial. Fossorial. Yeah, so animals that burrow underground, fossorial. So these guys, most of them, like the striped skunk that we're so used to, fossorial and terrestrial. These guys actually live up in the trees as well as underground. So they're extremely nimble. They're fast, they're nimble, they're small. And we're going to use this rope, because it's nice and loose, to demonstrate how well they climb. Okay? So you can watch them come out. We'll see what happens. You never know what's going to happen, but here we go. So he's doing pretty well at this. This is the hard transition right here. There it is. And then he goes all the way up. I'm going to give him a little treat or reinforce for doing so good. Now watch his back legs. Look at how he holds on. Wow. He makes his way back in, and then he turns around, and then he gets to eat. More food. Yeah. Yep, more food, more treats. I did such a good job. You should reinforce me, and we do. These are the smallest members of the skunk family. They're very rare to ever see. A lot of people, this is the first time they've seen them. These guys were actually found way up in the Trinity Mountains. Somebody was keeping them illegally, and they ended up coming to us. Now, they still have the spraying technology. These guys, we removed their scent gland, but they do, the spotted skunk, all skunk species are able to spray. And in your opinion, it's actually worse than... I would say that the western spotted skunk is worse than the striped skunk smell. Do you know how I know that? Because it didn't happen in your house, right? Yes, my house has been sprayed multiple times, because when these guys are babies and they can't be alone yet, I have to take them home and raise them, and that's before the scent gland is gone. So both the stripes and the spotteds have sprayed in my house, and the spotted is worse. I bet the resale value of our home is not so great right now. We got rid of the smell. There's all kinds of tricks to get rid of the smell. There you go. We all know Sharon Clay's house, if she's ever got it for sale, you might want to take a double take on that and take a whiff around here and make sure everything's good. I'm sure it's just fine. Well, that is so much fun. Of course, there are all kinds of other great animals here. So, of course, you know, for the show. So, we will, of course, learn more about that in the weeks to come, and more on the Walk on the Wild Side and all the great. And you have a theme every year, which is this year's camouflage. Yeah, it's basically to be seen or not be seen. That's right. And then you got to finish with the Shakespeare part. That is the question. That is the question. They hold like something. Where is any hold? To be seen or not be seen. All right. I don't know. We're digressing. We're obviously not literature experts here. And Adrian's like, I'm going to grab the hook any second. Wrap it up. All right. Wrap it up. Well, thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Beetle. I don't even know where Beetle is anymore, but Beetle's probably off doing all kinds of fun Beetle things. That has been your Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. We'll see you next time. Always fun hanging out with Sharon, and of course, and before we do that, of course, we need to mention our Coffee with Krueger sponsor, and that is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. Once again, want to thank Wind River for their support of Coffee with Krueger and Weather NorCal in general. Temperatures right now, look at the temperature in Redding. You're sitting at 62 degrees, but that's because there's a bit of a breeze coming out of the north here, and that's keeping those temperatures up. Think of it this way. So you've got a glass of water, right? In that glass of water, you've got cold water in it, right? And that's usually going to be at the bottom, right? And then you got at the very top of it some warmer water. So if you take that water and you mix it so that the warmer air is sitting on top of the warmer
water sitting on top of the colder water. If you take a spoon and mix it up, what happens? It all just kind of blends together and mixes up, and the cooler water becomes warmer water. So as a result, it's kind of the same concept here. You've got just the winds, they tend to mix things up a little bit here, and that keeps those temperatures up a bit. But where we're sheltered a little bit by the winds down to the south, temperatures are cooler as a result. 50 degrees for Red Bluff, 53 for Chico, 56 out in Oroville. And where we're really not seeing those winds picking up is Alturas at 27, 40 degrees though in Susanville, and there you can see Bernie about 35, and you got those mid to upper 40s out along the coast right now. So here's your headlines. Sunny and warm to start off the week, but breezy north winds in the valley today and really over the next few days. And it's not just the valley, but even the coast will see some of those gusty winds at times. Now, a slight drop in our temperatures by Thursday. And, we're going to be going from the low 80s to low 70s, so quite a nice drop actually. Cool and unsettled in the mountains starting as early as Wednesday. That's going to be kind of the overall broad trend, but we may see a little bit before that, even as early as this afternoon, but even tomorrow. But overall, I think the better chances across the board will be on Wednesday. So we've got this ridge of high pressure right here. So this is something I mentioned yesterday because we were talking about how it's going to stay below 90, it's going to be warmer, but not as warm as we could be. And that's because the main ridge of high pressure is right here. See the arc in the clouds? This is where the center of the high pressure is. By the way, we've got an area of low pressure kind of undercutting that ridge. So essentially what's happening is this. You've got the system's kind of going up and over that ridge, but you see how now we're in that path. So we do have a disturbance off to our north and west that is going to kind of push down to the south and east, and that actually may bring a slight chance for a stray shower or even a thunderstorm in parts of Plumas County. Now we've also got to watch this area of low pressure right here because this could potentially bring parts of the mountains a chance for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. All right, so let's take you right into it and take a look at Futurecast. Here you have midday. You see the afternoon clouds are beginning to develop here. A lot of this is even convective activity. It's the daytime heating, and that heat rises into the colder air aloft. So you can see those clouds developing here. Meanwhile, you've got mainly sunny skies along the coast and sunny skies elsewhere. Now look what happens. By the time we go into the mid to late afternoon, we are seeing those showers, possible thunderstorms developing mainly in Plumas County. Elsewhere should remain dry. And we're beginning to see a little bit more in the way of cloud cover developing once again for the coast. And by tonight, tomorrow morning, that fog developing around Humboldt Bay, southward into Highway 101, but then that quickly dissipates and evaporates through the morning hours tomorrow. And most likely starting the morning off, even out towards Crescent City, Del Norte County, with mainly sunny skies. But look at this, midday. It's sunny out there. I mean, everyone looking at those sunny skies. But very quickly through the afternoon, we start to see those afternoon towering cumulus clouds begin to develop for many of the mountains, including Trinity County, Siskiyou County. But you see how it's also picking up on maybe a pop-up shower here and there. So I would say this. For Tuesday afternoon, tomorrow, we could see a stray shower, northern and eastern parts of Shasta County. Bernie, if you see a stray shower tomorrow, don't be surprised. Especially eastern Siskiyou, parts of Modoc County. But it looks like to the south of that, maybe not so much. And then look at this. Remember that disturbance I was talking about to our south and west? Now that may impact us by the time I get into tomorrow night. You see how Modoc County is beginning to see some of those showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. Meanwhile, we are seeing that fog developing around Humboldt Bay again, downwards, down southward into Highway 101 as well. And the chances overnight into the early morning hours on a Wednesday is basically Modoc County and parts of Lassen County. Now, again, is this a big deal? No, but we can certainly see that activity. That fog is beginning to kind of hug the coast a little bit more. Here's Wednesday around midday. You see how the showers are beginning to pop up again, especially off to the east. We've still got some fog here for places like Eureka. And then by the afternoon on Wednesday, notice now we're starting to see it get a little bit more widespread. Best activity looks to be in eastern Shasta, so places like Bernie, also out towards Lassen Volcanic National Park. We got eastern Lassen County, eastern Tehama County, Lassen and Plumas County seeing some of that activity. But look at this, off to the west, out towards Trinity County, northern Shasta, southern Siskiyou County, even to the west into western Glenn County and into southern Trinity County. You've got that chance for some of these pop-up showers developing in the mountains. And again, this is one of those things I was talking about earlier, is that the forecast will change daily, and this will all look different from each forecast model run. So this is what I was talking about. By Wednesday, we got the overall trend with better chances for those showers and thunderstorms popping up in the mountains in particular. So as we go into Thursday, look what happens on Thursday. Take you through the afternoon. Of course, we've got that fog along the coast here. And then we go through look at this too. Thursday morning, we may see some fog working its way southward. We could see some fog, especially towards Red Bluff southward, maybe not as much heading northward into Redding. But then Thursday afternoon, we start to see the chance for those showers and thunderstorms popping up in the mountains. You see how it's just kind of isolated in nature. So not everyone's going to see the activity, but it's just most of the mountains will see that chance in there. As of right now, looks still to be dry in the valley. But by the time we get into Friday, we've got a stronger system coming in from the northwest. This could potentially not only bring us the showers and thunderstorms in the mountains, but the coast will see a better chance, the inland areas, and even parts of the valley, especially the north end of the valley around Redding. Maybe as far south as Red Bluff, seeing that chance for showers on Friday, but most of it off to the east. And what is this we see? Yes, snow in the mountains. But you have to go up pretty high, right? 6,000 feet or higher. And then this model in particular does show a little bit of a clipper system on Saturday. That could still bring us a chance for some showers, even for parts of the valley on Saturday. And this model keeps us dry as we go into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week with that ridge of high pressure building back in. So again, this is one of those weeks where we don't have anything major heading our way, but starting Wednesday in particular, you've got the chances for showers. And really, starting today, often on the chances for showers in the mountains, just depending on where you are. So the winds right now, as mentioned, they're a little bit stronger out towards the north and west side of the valley, and that's why temperatures are a little bit warmer, especially out towards the Redding area. Temperatures there in the low 60s, otherwise we're in the low 50s elsewhere right now in the valley. But the winds today, north and west side, although they begin to pick up a little bit even out towards Chico this afternoon, 20 to 30 miles per hour along the coast, but the wind's not as strong elsewhere. All right, now we take into this afternoon, 20 to close to 30 for the coast. Winds dying down a little bit here this evening for the valley, but picking back up again tomorrow morning. Still a little breezy here for the coast. In fact, by tomorrow afternoon, pretty gusty. Now we're talking 20 to 30 miles per hour there, and more of a south wind at about 10 to 20 miles per hour out towards the valley, and maybe a little bit stronger from the west for the eastern mountains. So the winds are dying down, but still, once again, even Wednesday morning, a little breezy northwest side of the valley, a little breezy for the coast as well, especially for Del Norte County. The wind's dying down a bit here for Wednesday afternoon for the valley, but still a tad breezy here for the coast. Let's talk about the temperatures too, because you think about where we started off in April. Man, gorgeous, right? Temperatures upper 50s to even mid 60s. But then we warmed back up, minus that little cooling spell here for Monday, Tuesday. But the last couple of weeks, we've really been above normal in the upper 70s and low 80s. The warmest looked like it was Monday, Tuesday of last week. And I don't think we're going to get even quite that warm for the rest of this week. In fact, we take a look at the temperature outlook, and the Climate Prediction Center has us in that near normal to cooler conditions here as we go into the longer range. So let's take a look at that 10-day trend for Redding in particular. And this is the overall trend for most of Northern California. We see how we're starting off fairly warm this week. We see a nice dip. We could even drop below normal by the end of this week and into the first half of the weekend before we climb right back up in the low 80s. But the key that we're seeing here is no 90s. No 90s just yet. I don't think I hear anybody complaining about that. Here's your lake levels, and we're starting to see them trickle up a little bit more, but overall Shasta Lake, not much of a change in the last 24 hours. We've seen a slight drop. Last week, Friday, we were at 90%. Now Trinity Lake has dropped back down to about 89%. But I mean, look at Shasta Lake, 96, 92% out towards Oroville. So again, the lakes are looking very healthy at this point. The wave heights are fairly high today. They're going to be high even going into tomorrow. And as a result, there is going to be a small craft advisory for today, and that's going to extend into tomorrow as well. The winds north at about 20 to 25 knots, and those waves at northwest at 9 feet at about 9 seconds. And once again, there's that small craft advisory. All right, so for today, your Trinity County detailed neighborhood forecast here. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for most of us for your daytime highs today. Mainly dry through Wednesday. But places like southern Trinity County by Wednesday could be looking at the potential for a stray shower. Otherwise, I think everyone will be dry, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be the best chance for some of those isolated showers. We take you out to the North Coast. Once again, mainly dry through Wednesday, but some of those inland areas will see that chance for showers as early as Thursday. 59 today for Ferndale, 59 in Rio Dell, and 60 degrees in Fortuna. Up north, Trinidad, 61, 65 in Blue Lake. Hoopa, you're topping out at 75. You got that chance for showers coming in by Thursday. Until then, should remain dry. There you can see about 69 degrees for Smith River, 61 for Oric, and 66 degrees for Gas Key. And there's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures upper 60s, even some low 70s along Highway 96. There's that isolated shower maybe as early as Wednesday, off and on continuing, most likely even through Sunday. Taking a look at your Scott Valley neighborhood forecast. There you can see 67 degrees out in Greenview, 67 degrees in Callahan, and it's as early as Wednesday we can see some activity, better chances coming in on Thursday. Central Eastern Siskiyou County, Wednesday off and on all the way through this upcoming weekend. Temperatures today, though, are going to be in the 60s and dry. Modoc County, you're dry today, but by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, maybe a stray shower. Better off and on chances here for Wednesday through this upcoming weekend. Eastern Mountains, Plumas County could see a stray shower here. Otherwise, I've got you dry. Bernie, you may see a stray shower even as early as tomorrow afternoon, but I think the better chances will be here by Wednesday, and that continues at least into the first half of the weekend. Take you out to Lake Almanor and out towards Lassen Park, and we've got those chances for showers as early as Wednesday there as well. Down to the south, Paradise 76, 75 degrees for Quincy, 73 in Susanville, and Doyle about 70. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Temperature is about low 80s is essentially. Again, it's a lot like what we saw here the last couple of days, actually. Here's your 7-day forecast for Chico, and looks like for your Earth Day, temperatures will be in the low 80s. We keep it that way for Wednesday. Nice drop in our temperatures, low 70s by Friday, Saturday. I have included a chance, a slim chance at that, but a chance on Saturday. All right, let's take you up to the north, 78 degrees for Whiskeytown, 82 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, and 79 degrees in Lakehead. Looking at your 7-day forecast for Redding, temperatures in the low 80s through Wednesday. Thursday, we're at the upper 70s. We start the drop in our temperatures, but the more noticeable drop will be on Friday and Saturday with that chance for showers. Now, at this point, I don't expect it to be a big deal. We're not looking at heavy downpours in the Redding area, but unfortunately, as you know, we got the big Cool April Night events going on here. The show and shines, the works, right? Friday is going to be the Cool April Nights cruise. We got Saturday, the main event. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and people are concerned that, it just happens. It just seems like it always happens. I have been forecasting here for over 25 years. It almost feels like it's a rare occasion that we just have sunny skies and warm temperatures during Cool April Nights. I'm sure if we were to look at all of the statistics that we would see that there have been plenty of them, but it just kind of feels like there's always just that little bit of a chance for rain, and usually even during the week. But as of right now, it just looks like Friday, Saturday will be your days that you may have that chance. But it's not going to be much, if at all, to really put any in the rain bucket, to really measure in the rain bucket either. So there you go. All right, that is a look at your forecast here for today. Let's check in with some of you again this morning. Oh, the sound was off? Oh, that's a bummer. I don't know what happened. There must have been some kind of weird glitch or something, but I'm glad it's back. Well, that's a bummer. Anyway, good morning. Have a great day. Sandra's saying have a good day. Enjoy the weekend broadcast from the Red Bluff Roundup. Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. My wife and I on Saturday, actually, so on Friday, my son and I went to, before the Red Bluff Roundup on Friday, we just went to some of the vendors and I tried on some cowboy hats. I look terrible in a cowboy hat, but I tried a few on to see if I could. And the thing is, if you're in the media, and you're going to kind of be in where all the cowboys are, it's required that you have cowboy attire. And they require for you to have even a cowboy hat. And they say if you don't, if you don't wear a cowboy hat, don't wear a hat at all. But so I was wearing kind of a bit of a Western shirt. You can't wear tennis shoes, right? So the works. So I just don't have a whole lot of Western attire. So I'm going to have to maybe, especially if I'm going to start doing more of these, I'm going to have to maybe think about getting a hat too. But I don't know. I just didn't think I looked very good in any of them. I tried a couple on. Some of you in the comments said there was a black one I tried on. My son said it looked better, and my wife even said the black one looked good on me as well. So there you go. Oh, so yeah, interesting. It was off for less than a minute. I wonder what happened. That's interesting. I don't know. Technology, right? Doesn't always work perfectly. In fact, yesterday I was at the Red Bluff Roundup, and this is the time they have those jumbotrons. You can check out the instant replays. Those stopped working for them. I can imagine they were panicking a bit here, but in less than a minute, they had those back up and running. So there you go. All right, that's going to do it for us today, folks. So glad you could join us this morning. Hope you have yourselves a great Monday. For the kiddos that are heading back to school, I hope they have a great start to their week as they start back up on school. And of course, if you are in any of those sporting events, got to get back in shape, kids. Got to get back in shape. Well, what do you say we get to it and take a look at some of these cameras out there this morning and see what it looks like out there on North Forebay. Looking pretty nice. Calm winds for the most part. Don't even see much going on with the water there. A little bit of that breeze coming from that streamer, but that is about it. Well, that's going to do it, folks. Have yourselves a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning. We're right in early at 6:30. Till then, have a great day.
Thank you.